Everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm making 10 cards with the C&CT stamp May 2017 kit. And there's a lot to do, so I'm going to jump in with card number 1. Now in this kit, if you'd like to know the details of what's in it, you can visit C&CT stamp, and I'll include the link down in the description area below. But there's pattern paper. On the reverse side of the pattern paper is some solid color paper. So I'm just taking strips, random sizes and widths of the color paper here. And then I'm taking a piece of white cardstock and I trimmed it down, and I'm adding some adhesive to the cardstock here. And then I'm going to arrange the strips on this cardstock, just placing them randomly, almost in a diamond shape. And so I'm going to trim down the corners because I do want the diamond shape. And then after I get them all adhered down, I'm going to fishtail the ends of them. And the color of the paper that's behind the pattern paper, there are some beautiful colors. So I thought it'd be fun to make this kind of a little abstract design here. And I needed a little more room, so I added a little bit more cardstock. Okay, now I have fishtailed everything, and I'm going to adhere a piece of white cardstock to my card base, and I'm using the doll pink card base. And then I'm going to pop up my panel with some foam tape and put that right in the center. Earlier I had cut out the heart from the flamingo paper in the kit, and I decided not to use this. I didn't like the way it looked. And so I went to plan B, and actually plan B turned out a lot better. So I took a circle die, and then I used a white piece of cardstock, and I ran that through the Big Shot machine. And then once I got the circle cardstock done, in the kit it has this beautiful acetate sheet of paper, and it's from, let's see, Illustrated Faith. And I used my circle die to cut out this sentiment. And this sentiment says, "Create in me a new heart," which I absolutely love. And then I also am going to cut out the little heart that's on this acetate sheet. Now I do want to let you guys know that this acetate sheet has a very thin plastic film on the top that you'll want to take off. And it makes your acetate sheet super shiny. So don't forget to do that if you want to try making this card. But I just glued them both together, and then I'm covering up that little area that I cut out that I don't want anyone to see with the heart. And then I'm going around the edges with my white gel pen because I love that look. And then that's it for card number 1. Very simple, very easy, and I really like the way this turned out. Very bright. So now for card number 2. In this kit it comes with this watercolor paper, and it also comes with some Crayola fine line markers. So I'm taking my water brush and I'm going to color in the flamingo. And I kind of jumped the gun here. I kind of this is where I cut out that heart that was on top of the flamingo. But anyway, I'm using the watercolor, well, these are not even watercolor markers, so just fine line markers. But they blend beautifully with water. And I'm just using the pink that was in the set. And I'm using my water brush to spread out that color. And it worked out really, surprisingly, really well. And so my daughters were sitting next to me while I was doing this, and they thought it was fun. So after I'm done doing this, I'm going to give them the watercolors. I thought they would have a blast with that. Now here's where I'm cutting out the heart, and then I'm also going to cut out the entire flamingo, leaving the water puddle on the bottom. So once I have that done, we need to work on our panel. And so let's see, I'm taking this is the green apple card base, and then I need a panel. So I'm using a scallop rectangle die to cut out the panel. I'm going to just glue that directly on my card base. Get that in the center. And then I'm going to pop up my flamingo. But I decided to cut out the pool, which I really regret doing. I wish I hadn't have did that. Because I really didn't like the way this looks. But I'm going to pop it up with some foam adhesive and glue that right in the center of my panel. And to me, it's just not flowing right, and I really wish I didn't cut that other part off. But I did, and that's okay. So I'm taking a piece of the pattern paper, but I want to use one of the little hearts there. So I'm going to cut out a little heart that kind of coordinates with my flamingo. And then I folded it in half, kind of creased it, because I want it to be kind of dimensional, so I kind of flipped it up. And then on the reverse side of the pattern paper, there's this tan color. So I'm going to cut a little banner out, and I'm going to fishtail the end. And then where I had cut that heart out, I'm going to cover that up with that. Lovely. And then I'm going to pop that up with some foam tape on the top. And then I'm going to use some adhesive on the bottom so it lays flush with the flamingo. Lovely. I'm going to add our little heart. I'm going to use just a glue dot for that. And I think it needed a little bit more. So in my stash I have some jute cord that's actually the same exact color as my card base here. And so I'm going to tie that around. And I also use my white gel pen to go, and I did faux stitching around my little banner. I tied a bow with the jute cord. And then I just need to fix that bottom because I just can't leave it. I should never have messed it up, but I did. And so my solution to that was I took the blue paper that was in the kit and I made like a little pool with the blue paper, and then I actually made it cut out two, and I topped them off with my white gel pen, and then I smeared some ink. So I'm taking some, actually to clean up my ink mess, I used a whiteout and it worked out good. Now for card number 3, I completely lost while I was editing how I made this card, but it's very simple. I just made a window with my rectangle die from the card base, and then added that acetate sheet underneath it. And then in my stash I have these frame dies. I cut out 2 of the pink panels from that pattern paper there, and then I used a piece of white cardstock to stamp my sentiment. And the sentiment for this card I just love because it says, "Count your life by smiles, not tears. Count your age by friends, not years." And I thought that goes perfect with the numbers. And then I added a few sequins, and that was it. Okay, now for our next card, I decided to make a missing you card. And so I'm going to do some coloring. And again, I'm going to, since this is watercolor paper, I'm going to use my water pen and my water brush. And I'm going to color the entire, well actually I'm ending up coloring 3 of the little cactuses in, and then I'm going to cut them out as well. And I didn't want to save time, I want to skip the coloring and show you what they look like. There they are. And then for the 4th cactus I just cut out and I didn't bother coloring it in. I'm taking a piece of white cardstock I cut out with a rectangle die, and then this is actually Bristol smooth cardstock. I'm arranging my little cactus the way I'd like them, and then I'm taking some removable adhesive and sticking that cactus down that I didn't color. I'm going to zoom in here in a minute. And then I'm using some broken china. This is Distress Oxide ink, and this is actually the first time I've used it, and I am in love with this stuff. It is so smooth and I love it. And I'm going heavily over my white card base here. And I love the way it blends. It's just so neat. And then I'm going to put some water droplets to activate it all over my little panel. And then I'm going to pat it dry with a paper towel. And then I'm taking my shimmer mist and I'm going over it to add some shimmer to my background. And it's pretty saturated, so I got my heat tool out, and then I'm going to just heat set that to dry it real fast. I think this card turned out so cute. Okay, I'm all done, and I love the way that turned out. It's so pretty. Now I'm going to remove my little mask, and so I have the outline shadow of the cactus, which I think is so neat. And then I'm going to pop up the other three and arrange them on my panel here. Lovely. And then I have my banner die, and I thought it would go good on the bottom, but I'm making a little bit of a white outline since I am using the navy cardstock, and I thought that a little bit of a white background would make this pop. And then there's my fishtail banner, but I ended up not using that because I wanted a fishtail on both ends. So I just grabbed a piece of white cardstock and I stamped the sentiment that says "Missing You." And I'm using some VersaFine ink. And I'm just going to use my paper trimmer to trim it out. And then I'm going to fishtail the ends here. I'm going to directly adhere that panel to our card base, and then using some foam tape I'm going to pop up my sentiment, and I love the way this turned out. I think it turned out adorable. Perfect. For some finishing touches, I'm taking my white gel pen and just going over the little cactus to add a little bit more accent to them. And then I'm taking my Nuvo crystal drops. No, these are glitter drops, and these are white blizzard. And to add a little bit of sparkle and shine, I'm adding a few dots here and there, and then on the cactus. And that's it for that card. Now, for card number 5. This is a cute one. I'm taking my rectangle die and the navy card base, and I'm cutting out a window. Now, we're not going to use the window on the card. I'm going to actually cover it up, but I want that. I need that. I need that color, so I just kind of cheated and cut out a little piece. But anyway, I'm taking the little heart pattern paper, and I'm going to cover up the hole that I made there. And put that directly on top there. Now the inside of it's yellow, and that doesn't bother me because it is a colored paper. So next I'm taking that rectangle die and I'm cutting out a panel with white cardstock. And then I'm taking those little hearts again, and I found a die that was pretty close to those hearts. So I cut out 3 hearts. And then I did notice when I cut out that strip of that heart paper in the background that the sentiment cut out perfectly. It was like it was meant to be for this card, but it says love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul. So I thought, you know what, this is going to be perfect for this card. So I grabbed a love die from my stash and I cut out the word love, and then now we're going to attach our little hearts to our panel here, and I'm just using glue dots, and then I'm folding up the edges so it's almost 3D. And then I added my my strip sentiment just under the hearts, and then I attached the word love right below it, and I'm popping that panel up with some foam tape. That was my little kitty that walked by, and I'm going to put that directly in the center. And then my little sentiment strip was kind of crooked, so I want to fix that. But I just love the way that turned out. And then, now for a finishing touch, I grab my white gel pen, and then I'm going to just do a little bit of faux stitching right down the center of those 3 hearts. And I was really happy with the way that turned out. Okay, now card number 6. Now this is our animation card. I only made 1 with this kit. And I cut out, well, four strips of the colored paper. And I'm going to adhere them all together. Just stacking them. So I'm making it like a multicolored panel here. And then there's the blue, the yellow, the tan, and then now I'm going to do the orange. This was actually a little tricky for me. But I'm making a window frame that I had cut out. And it fits on there really well. I'm just double checking it. And then I'm going to take that that grid line paper, and I'm going to attach it to my window frame. And I did notice right here that the grid paper has 2 textures. Well, a smooth texture, and then it has a texture on one side. And I noticed that it was smoother on the gliding of the card part when I put it in, that if I put the textured side on the top part. So textured side of this grid line paper is on the top and the smooth is on the inside. And it just made the card slide a lot easier. I'm adding some foam tape just around the 3 sides. And then we need to stamp our image. So we need a panel. And I didn't do any measuring or anything, but I want it to fit kind of flush. So I'm just using my little frame as a guide, and I'm going to trim it down to fit inside my window there. And that worked out good. Now I'm taking my mini Misty, and we're going to stamp the flamingo and 2 of the butterflies. And this is the part where I think you want to make sure that when you stamp these, that you want to get those lines very vertical. Otherwise, you won't see the animation that you're supposed to. I'm using VersaFine ink to ink up my stamps, and it worked the first time, which was great. And then, let's see, I'll stamp our sentiment. I thought since graduation's around the corner, I thought it would be so cute to do a little graduation card. So I have a sentiment that says "Go forth and conquer," and since this is an animation card, I thought it'd be fun if the flamingo was going forth and conquering. So I just using some black cardstock from my stash, and I'm using some white embossing powder, and I went ahead and heat set that and cut that out using one of my circle dies. And then I grabbed my white gel pen because I love this look. I just doing some faux stitching around my sentiment here. And I want this to be sitting on the bottom of the card. So I took my paper trimmer and we're going to just trim down the bottom of that. Okay, now in my stash I have some tags that already have twine. So I just attached it to the back of my panel here, and it can slide in and out with ease. And I already adhered my sentiment to the bottom. Now moving on to our next card, card number 7. I'm taking a rectangle die and I'm cutting out the sentiment that says "Be My Vision," and I also cut out the sunglasses. And here you can see me removing that plastic film that's on that acetate sheet, and it makes a huge difference, so don't forget to pull that off. But I cut out my 2 sunglasses and my sentiment, and then I'm going to take that pattern paper that has all the sunglasses in it, because it's so cute and I just thought it'd be adorable. I'm going to trim it down, and I'm making it just slightly smaller than the standard size card. And I'm using the green apple cardstock or card base. I'm going to just adhere that directly to it. And then I have a super large circle die that I'm using for my stash, and it's actually the biggest one that I have. And I'm using white cardstock. I'm going to cut that out. And then I want to make a little bit of a frame. So I went through my stash and I found some yellow cardstock that matches pretty good. And I'm making I took 2 of my circle dies and nested them together, and I cut that out, making a little yellow circle frame. And then using my Tombow Mono Multi Glue, I'm just going to adhere that little frame on the inside of my circle. I'm going to take the whole thing and just attach it to that corner of my card, and I'm going to trim off the excess there. And then I'm going to just use my tape runner and adhere my sentiment down. And then I'm going to, these look so cute, I love those sunglasses, but I'm going to pop them up with some dimensional adhesive. I'm going to put that one right below it. And then almost done, but we need a little shimmer and shine. So I'm using my Nuvo Crystal Drops, and these ones are honey gold, and I'm just adding some gold drops around my little white circle there. And that's it. Now for our next card, card number 8, I'm taking my white card base and then a piece of the pattern paper. This one has the cactuses on it, and it's adorable. And I'm just gluing that directly on my card base here. And then I took my scallop edge die, and then it wasn't big enough, so I just took a piece of white cardstock and kind of angled it at kind of a off angle, and then trimmed down the sides. Kind of wanted something different. So after I did that, I have some leftover cactuses that I decided I'm going to color in, and I'm going to cut out. And I did that already at the same time. And then for my stash, I have this Always die, and I cut that out on top of the white cardstock that was there on our card base. And then I put a piece of the blue paper that came in the kit right behind it. So I'm using the negative space of that die. And I put that on there, and I'm going to adhere that directly. Well, actually, I'm going to pop it up with some foam tape, and then we're going to put that on our card base. And this card was so easy and so simple, but it actually turned out really pretty. I was really happy with the way this turned out. And then just using dimensional adhesive, I'm going to pop up my my little cactus and put it right there on the bottom corner. Simple and easy, and I think it turned out really pretty. Love that. Okay, now for card number 9. I was noticing in my scraps that I had the inside panel that I had used for the animation card. So I'm going to go ahead and use it. When I flipped it over, I really liked the 4 patterns that were on it. So I'm taking a yellow and the blue solid paper in the kit, and then I am taking a circle die and cutting out the sentiment from the watercolor paper that says "Thinking of You." And I should have been more careful when I was cutting out the cactus, because it was kind of off shaped. So I'm trimming off the side. And then I think we're going to pop that up and put it on our panel here. But the other side was, it didn't have a very good edge. So I'm coloring in one of the cactus from the watercolor paper, and it turned out so pretty. And then to cover up my mess up, I'm going to just pop that cactus up and stick it right over on top. And you can't even tell. And then in my stash, I have some... This is, let's see, just ribbon. It is seam binding ribbon, which is really thin, and I love the way this looks. And it's just white. So I tied a bow around my panel, and then my little cactus fell off, but I think it was because it was too saturated. So I added some Tombow Mono Multi Glue to that to stick it. I'm taking the panel, I'm going to pop it up with some foam tape. And I was happy with the way this turned out. Just securing it at an angle. And then for finishing touches, I'm going to use some of those White Blizzard glitter drops and go around the cactus. And that's card number 9. Now for our final card. I'm so excited. This is the pretty floral pattern paper, and I'm going to add that to, let's see, this is Doll Pink cardstock. And this is our card panel. So I'm just securing it directly on top there. And then I cut out a piece using white cardstock using my scallop edged rectangle die. And then with that leftover piece of paper, I'm going to cut out 3 of the little flowers from it. And then there, let's see, maybe one more. So yeah, one more flower will work good. And then I have that heart that I cut out that was going to use earlier, and I really wanted to use it. So to make it match the flower background in the back, I'm going to add a little bit of pink to the edges, and then I used my water pen to kind of blend it all in, and it turned out very, very nicely. I was happy with the way this turned out. Kind of made it like a coral color, which was really pretty. And then I secured that to my little white panel there, and then I'm arranging my little flowers just off to the side of my little heart. I put 2 flesh on the white panel, and then I popped up the 3rd little flower using a dimensional adhesive. And I'm going to use some foam tape, and then I'm going to put that right in the center, and I love the way that looks. Lovely. And then for a little bit of accent, I am using these are clear drops. They're from Pretty Pink Posh, and they're just like little droplets, and I just love them. And I added a few to accent the card. And that's it, card number 10. I mean, I know these videos go by so fast, and I apologize. I try to squeeze them in a short amount of time, so I hope I was descriptive with this. But here's a quick look at the 10 cards that I made using the Simon Says Stamp May 2017 kit. I hope this gave you some great ideas to have fun with it. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and you have a wonderful day. If you like this tutorial, please give me a thumbs up, and if you're new, please subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.